Hey, friends. And if you're waiting on that December Social Security check, I need you to stay with me because we're covering exactly who's getting paid this Wednesday, what time that money hits your account. And I'm going to give you the real truth about those $2,000 stimulus checks that President Trump has been talking about. Plus, I'm going to walk you through some critical Medicare changes happening in January that could cost you money if you're not prepared. And I'm going to show you benefit programs that most seniors don't even know exist that could put an extra $200 to $400 in your pocket every single month. Now, I know a lot of you have been hearing about this stimulus on the news. Some outlets are making it sound like it's a done deal, and I get it. When you're living on a fixed income and prices keep going up, the idea of $2,000 sounds amazing. But I respect you too much to give you false hope. So I'm going to break down exactly what's happening, what the realistic chances are, and what you need to know. I read through all the reports, the fact checks, the actual legislative proposals, and even the Supreme Court briefs so you don't have to. That's what I do here. I cut through the noise and give you the straight truth. Before we dive in, if this kind of no-nonsense information helps you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm here every day bringing you updates on Social Security, Medicare, stimulus news, and everything that affects your benefits and your wallet. And stick with me to the end, because I'm going to give you a complete action plan, a checklist you can literally print out and use to make sure you're not leaving money on the table. All right, let's start with what we know for sure. The Social Security payment schedule. On Wednesday, December 18th, if your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th of any month, you're getting your check. That's how Social Security does it. They pay based on your birth date, not when you signed up, not how long you've been receiving benefits, not how much you paid in. It's purely based on the day you were born. So if you were born on March 15th, July 18th, December 12th, any date between the 11th and 20th, Wednesday is your day. This applies to Social Security retirement benefits, SSDI, Social Security disability insurance, and survivor benefits. Now here's where some people get confused. So let me clear this up really carefully because I get questions about this literally every single payment cycle. If you started getting Social Security before May 1997, you already got paid on December 3rd. You're on a different schedule. You get paid on the 3rd of every month, regardless of your birthday. This is what they call the legacy payment schedule. And the reason it exists is because back before 1997, everyone got paid on the 3rd. Then Social Security realized that was overwhelming the system. So they spread out the payments for people who signed up after May 1997. But if you were already in the system, they grandfathered you in on that 3rd of the month schedule. If you're on SSI, Supplemental Security Income, you actually already got your December payment on November 29th. Why? Because December 1st was a Sunday, and the Social Security Administration doesn't pay on weekends or holidays. So they moved it up to the last business day of November. You're not getting another payment in December. Your next SSI payment will be December 31st for January, and that's because January 1st is New Year's Day. And if you get both Social Security and SSI, those come as two separate payments on two different days. I've had people call into question thinking something was wrong because they got two different amounts on different days. That's normal. Social Security and SSI are two different programs with two different payment schedules. The remaining payment date for December is December 24th for those born between the 21st and 31st. And yes, I know that's Christmas Eve. Some of you are asking if it'll be delayed. No, it won't. December 24th is a business day this year, so payments go out as scheduled. Now let's talk about timing. Most people see their direct deposit between midnight and 3 a.m. on payment day. Big banks like Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they usually process early morning, sometimes even the night before. Credit unions can be a little different. Some show it pending the day before. Others don't post until business hours on payment day. I've seen some credit unions not show the deposit until 9 or 10 a.m., which can be nerve-wracking if you're used to seeing it at midnight. If you don't see it by 3 p.m. on Wednesday, here's what you do. Call your bank first. Don't call Social Security yet. 9 times out of 10, it's a banking issue, not a Social Security issue. Your bank can tell you if the payment was received and when it'll post to your account. If they say it wasn't sent, then you need to contact Social Security. And here's something important that a lot of people don't know. According to the Social Security Administration, if your payment doesn't arrive, you should wait 3 business days before panicking. That's their official guidance. But if it doesn't come after 3 days, there could be a real issue. Maybe you're in an overpayment situation where they're withholding money. Maybe there's a problem with your benefit status. Maybe your direct deposit information is outdated and they sent a check to an old address. Let me talk about the 2025 cost of living adjustment because there's still confusion about this. The COLA for 2025 is 2.5%. I know that doesn't feel like much when everything costs more, but that COLA is already in your current checks. You've been getting it since January. The important thing to know is that the next COLA, the one for 2026, that's not coming until January 1st, 2026. Some people get confused about that. They think there's another adjustment coming in December. There's not. Here's what the maximum benefits look like for 2025. If you retired at age 70 after paying in the maximum your entire career, $5,108 per month. If you retired at full retirement age, which is 67, for $1,018. If you took early retirement at 62, $2,831. Now, the average Social Security benefit right now is $1,925 per month. That's across all recipients, retirement, disability, survivors, everything. And speaking of full retirement age, this is now permanently set at 67 if you were born in 1960 or later. That's a done deal starting January 1st, 2025. There's been some talk about raising it even higher to 68 or 69, but nothing has been officially proposed yet. If that changes, you'll hear about it from me first. Let me also address something I've been getting a ton of questions about. Medicare Part B premiums for 2025. The standard premium is $185 per month. That's up $10.30 from 2024. Now here's what's important. That premium is automatically deducted from your Social Security check. So if you're getting $1,925, you're only seeing about $1,740 after Medicare Part B is taken out. Some of you are also paying Part D premiums, and those vary depending on your plan, but the average is around $46 per month. Okay, here's where I need you to really pay attention because there's a lot of misinformation out there. President Trump has said he wants to send Americans a $2,000 stimulus check, including seniors on Social Security. This is real. He said it multiple times. But saying it and it actually happening are two very different things. Let me give you the complete timeline of how this evolved, because I think understanding the history helps you understand what's likely to happen next. Back in July 2024, President Trump first mentioned he wanted to send $600 stimulus checks. This was during the campaign. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican from Missouri, even drafted a bill for it. A bill that would pay Americans $600 from tariff revenue. The idea was simple. If we're collecting all this money from tariffs, why not give some of it back to American citizens? Then in October 2024, the president increased that number. He started talking about $1,000 to $2,000 checks. And this was specifically targeted at working-class Americans and seniors. He made it a campaign promise. Just recently, after taking office, he's been consistent about the $2,000 amount and said he wants to get it done in 2025 before the end of the year. So yes, the president has publicly stated he wants this to happen. Multiple news organizations are reporting on it. Fox News, CNN, even the more skeptical outlets are covering it because he said it so many times. But here's what you need to understand about whether this will actually happen. There are three major obstacles standing in the way of you getting that $2,000 check before the end of 2025. And I'm going to walk through each one in detail because you need to understand exactly what we're up against here. Problem 1, the Supreme Court case. Right now, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments about whether the president even has the legal authority to impose these tariffs unilaterally. See, traditionally, Congress has the power to regulate trade. It's right there in the Constitution. But presidents over the years have been given some authority to impose tariffs for national security reasons or in emergencies. The question before the Supreme Court is whether President Trump exceeded that authority with his recent tariff increases. If the Supreme Court rules against him, all that tariff revenue could be struck down, collected money might have to be refunded, and there's no funding source for stimulus checks. And from what's being reported about those Supreme Court arguments, it didn't look great. Even some of the conservative justices seemed skeptical about the president's authority here. Justice Roberts asked some pretty pointed questions about the limits of executive power. We're expecting a decision sometime in the next few weeks, possibly before the end of December, possibly early January. Problem 2. Competing priorities. The president has promised to use tariff revenue for multiple things. He wants to use it to pay down the federal debt. He wants to use it to fund the tax cuts that were just passed, extending the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act provisions that were set to expire. And he wants to send stimulus checks to Americans. The problem? Experts from both liberal and conservative think tanks say there won't be enough money to do all three. The Congressional Budget Office estimates the tariff revenue at somewhere between $200 billion and $400 billion, depending on how they're implemented and whether other countries retaliate. That sounds like a lot. But when you're talking about tax cuts that cost over $1 trillion and the national debt that's over $36 trillion, it's a drop in the bucket. So which one is his top priority? We don't know yet. He talks about all three, but actions speak louder than words. And so far, the tax cuts are what got pushed through first. That tells you where the priority has been. Problem 3. Time is running out. We're in mid-December. Congress typically takes a holiday break starting around December 20th. They come back briefly after New Year's, but there's not a lot of working days between now and when they recess. That gives them maybe 15 working days to draft comprehensive stimulus legislation, get it through committee hearings, pass it through both the House and Senate, reconcile any differences between the House and Senate versions, and get it signed. Could it happen? Maybe. We've seen Congress move fast when they want to. The CARES Act in 2020 went from proposal to law in about 2 weeks. But that was during a global pandemic with bipartisan support. This is different. This is more controversial. Not everyone agrees that stimulus checks are the best use of tariff revenue. Let me give you some context that I think is important. In 2020, when we got the CARES Act stimulus, that was $1,200 per person, $2,400 for married couples, plus $500 per child. That cost about $292 billion. Then we got a second round in December 2020, $600 per person. That cost about $164 billion. Then the American Rescue Plan in 2021, $1,400 per person. That cost about $400 billion. So sending $2,000 to every American, we're talking about probably 200 million eligible adults. That's $400 billion minimum. Maybe more depending on how they structure it. Do dependents qualify? Do people earning over a certain amount get excluded? All of that affects the cost. Here's what I think, and I want to be straight with you. When President Trump wants something from Congress, especially when his party controls both the House and Senate, he usually gets it. We saw that with the recent tax bill. It wasn't easy, but it got done. So if, and that's a big if, getting stimulus checks to Americans is his #1 priority right now, then yes, it could happen. But there are too many variables right now for me to tell you it's definitely coming. The tariff revenue might not even be legal once the Supreme Court rules. And even if it is legal, the president has promised that money to multiple things, and there's not enough to go around. Something's got to give. Here's what I do think should happen, and this is my personal opinion. If these tariffs have driven up prices, which economists across the political spectrum agree they have, then returning that money to American consumers, especially seniors on fixed incomes, would be the fair thing to do. You've borne the brunt of these price increases. When tariffs go up, companies pass those costs on to you. You're paying more for groceries, more for clothes, more for household goods. A lot of that is directly tied to tariff policy. Now let me talk about Medicare Advantage changes for 2026, because this is something concrete that's actually going into effect, and a lot of seniors have no idea this is coming. Starting January 1st, 2026, there are some major changes to Medicare Advantage plans. First, several insurance companies are pulling out of certain markets. Humana is exiting several counties in Florida and Texas. United Healthcare is scaling back in parts of the Midwest. If you're in one of these areas, you might get a letter saying your plan is being discontinued. Second, 6 states are implementing new prior authorization requirements. That means for certain procedures, tests, or treatments, your doctor has to get approval from your insurance company before they'll cover it. The 6 states are California, New York, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And the procedures that require prior authorization include things like MRIs, CT scans, certain surgeries, and some prescription medications. Third, A lot of plans are increasing their out-of-pocket maximums for 2026. The legal limit is $8,850 for in-network care, and some plans are raising their maximums closer to that limit. That means if you have serious health issues, you could be paying significantly more out of pocket. This is why I'm telling you, do not just auto-renew your Medicare Advantage plan for 2026. You need to compare your options during the open enrollment period, which runs through December 7th. And yes, I know that's coming up fast, but you still have time. Go to Medicare.gov, use their plan comparison tool, put in your medications, your doctors, your pharmacy, and see what plans work best for you. Now let me talk about benefit programs that most seniors don't know about. Program number 1, SNAP benefits, also known as food stamps. A lot of seniors think they won't qualify because they own a home or they have some savings. That's not true. For most states, if you're an individual making less than about $1,500 a month after deductions, you can qualify. The average SNAP benefit for seniors is about $200 a month. That's $200 worth of groceries you don't have to pay for out of pocket. Program number 2, LIHEAP. That's the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. This helps with heating in the winter and cooling in the summer. Depending on your state, you could get anywhere from $200 to $1,000 a year to help with your utility bills. Program number 3, Medicare Savings Programs. There are actually 4 different programs under this umbrella that can pay your Part B premiums, your deductibles, and your copays. If you're making less than $1,500 a month as an individual, you should apply. This could save you $185 a month just on the Part B premium alone. Program number 4, Property Tax Relief for Seniors. Almost every state has some kind of property tax relief program for seniors. Some states freeze your property taxes at a certain age. Some give you a homestead exemption. I've seen seniors save anywhere from $500 to $3,000 a year through these programs. Let me give you my bottom line take on this whole stimulus situation. What we know for sure, President Trump has publicly said multiple times he wants to send stimulus checks. He wants it to come from tariff revenue. He's mentioned specifically $2,000. He said he wants to do it before the end of 2025. What we don't know, whether the Supreme Court will rule the tariffs are legal, whether this is his actual top priority versus other uses for that money, whether Congress can move fast enough to pass legislation before they leave for the holidays. What I'm watching, I'm monitoring 3 things closely. First, the Supreme Court decision on tariffs. Second, whether the president starts actively pushing Congress to prioritize stimulus legislation. Third, whether Senator Hawley's bill or a new stimulus bill starts moving through committee. If any of those things happen, you'll see a video from me immediately breaking down what it means for you. But right now, today, I cannot tell you that $2,000 is coming. I wish I could. Believe me, I would love to give you good news, but I won't mislead you. Let me address something that's been really frustrating me. A lot of news outlets and other YouTube channels are running headlines that make it sound like this stimulus is a done deal. That's not responsible reporting, and I think it's creating false expectations for seniors who are really struggling. So I want to be very clear. Until a bill passes both houses of Congress and gets signed by the president, there is no stimulus check coming. Proposing it, wanting it to happen, talking about it, those are not the same as it actually happening. Look, I know living on Social Security is hard. The average benefit of $1,925 a month, that's tough to live on, especially with rent, groceries, medical costs, everything going up. The idea of an extra $2,000 would be life-changing for a lot of you. Some of you are choosing between medications and food. Some of you are behind on bills. And when you hear the president talking about stimulus checks, it gives you hope. I understand that. But I also know that false hope can be worse than no hope. So I'm going to keep being straight with you about what's real and what's speculation. Let me give you a complete action plan. Action item 1, verify your Social Security payment. Log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov. Check your payment amount. Confirm your direct deposit information is correct. Action item 2, if you don't have direct deposit set it up now. You can do it through your My Social Security account or by calling 1-800-772-1213. Action item 3, review your Medicare coverage before December 7th. Go to Medicare.gov, use the plan comparison tool, and see if there's a better option for 2026. Action item 4. Apply for SNAP benefits if you think you might qualify. Don't assume you won't qualify. Let them tell you no. The worst that happens is they say you make too much. Action item 5. Contact your county tax assessor and ask about property tax relief programs if you own your home. Action item 6. If you're taking expensive medications, ask your doctor about generic alternatives. Action item 7. Review your subscriptions and memberships. Cut what you're not actually using. That could be $50 to $100 a month right there. So to wrap this all up, if you were born between the 11th and 20th of any month, your Social Security check is coming Wednesday, December 18th. Most of you will see it in your account early morning. As for the $2,000 stimulus, President Trump has said he wants to do it, but there are major legal and logistical hurdles. Could it happen? Yes. Will it happen? I honestly don't know, but I'll be watching closely and keeping you updated. In the meantime, focus on what you can control. Make sure you're getting all the benefits you qualify for. Review your Medicare coverage. Look for ways to reduce your expenses. If you want to stay on top of all the latest news, stimulus updates, Social Security changes, Medicare information, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm here every single day breaking down what matters to your benefits and your wallet. And if this video helped you understand what's really going on instead of just the hype, leave me a comment and let me know. Tell me where you're watching from. Take care of yourselves, friends. You've worked hard your whole lives. You've earned your benefits. I'll see you tomorrow with more updates.